A law meant to provide protection against persecution is fueling violence in India. And these, behind me, are some of these scenes unfolding across the country as protests spread against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Before it became a law, it was called the Citizenship Amendment Bill, or CAB. Now, the new law provides a route to citizenship for religious minorities fleeing persecution in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. But Muslims fleeing these countries are not included in the purview of this act. The act has led to protests across India in the state of Assam, in the northeast, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, just some of the states where there are protests. But the reasons driving people to protest are different. Let's begin with Assam, which shares a border with Bangladesh and where residents have long complained of illegal migration from Bangladesh.
So we do not want Assam to lose its identity and overdue and overwhelmed by the external powers, external forces and external people coming from Bangladesh, because we know that we will become the minority in our own land.
Now listen to what is motivating another protester to raise her voice against the bill.
I think people have come out in large numbers because they understand how this government is damaging the fabric of the country. Hindu, Muslims, everybody are equal. We want that equality. We want to, in fact, move towards greater equality amongst different sections of the society.
So, two different reasons for protest against the same act. Journalist Rana Ayyub now joins me from Mumbai. She was herself at one of these protests. Rana, welcome. Thank you for making the time. Now, in most parts of India, this act is being viewed as anti-secular and anti-Muslim. But that's not the case in the northeastern state of Assam. Why is that?
That's true, because in the northeastern state of Assam, it's a more nuanced argument, because the northeast has been, has always had issues with the migrant population in Assam, wherein it's an issue of the Bengali versus the non-Bengali population, those who are migrating to Assam from the borders from Bangladesh. So it's always been a more ethnic issue as opposed to a religious issue than what we are seeing in the country at this point of time, which is more of an anti-Muslim sentiment which is being stoked by the government. So Assam is purely an ethnic issue which should not be conflated with what is happening right now in the entire country, which is basically a opposition of a majoritarian bill brought in by the government.
It is with reference to this bill that the UN called it, I quote, a fundamentally discriminatory in nature. That is how the UN referred to this act. But, Rana, doesn't the government have the prerogative to decide which persecuted communities it wants to extend protection to?
Well, it's the government's prerogative to decide, but it is not the government's prerogative to change the Constitution of India that does not allow for discrimination on the basis of race, sex, class, religion. And that's exactly what the Indian government is doing right now. If it is so concerned about the persecuted minorities, why has it spared countries like Myanmar, wherein the Rohingyas are being persecuted every day, and the large population of the Rohingya minorities are now in Bangladesh. And we had a very tiny population of Rohingyas who were settled in Delhi, and the Indian government sought to throw them out of the country. So it's basically stoking a majoritarian sentiment in the country by saying that this country does not belong to Muslims, and it also has to be seen in conjunction with the National Register of Citizens, which basically will delegitimize citizens across the country, which is already delegitimized citizens in the northeast. So the Citizenship Amendment Bill has to be seen in conjunction with the National Register of Citizens, and which is why it makes it a discriminatory and anti-Muslim bill, which has been brought in by the Indian Parliament.
And that's where we leave it for the time being. Rana Ayyub, thank you so much for speaking to us from Mumbai.
Thank you.